Kunjavihari Jayadhamadava Kunjavihari Gopizanava Irivaradhari Gopizanava Irivaradhari Kishodanandana Rajajanaranjana Kishodanandana Rajajanaranjana Latina Vanachari Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Radhamava Kunjavihari Jayada Madhava Kunjavihari Gopijana Girivaradhari Gopijana Yishodhanandana Rajajanaranjana Shodanandana Rajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtatera Sutta Shri Madhus Divine Grace Oh boy, Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtatera Sutta Shri Madhus Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prasiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Mukund Radha Kunya Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Shamaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Guru. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Devi. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravan Charine Rise Sasanyavadi Paschatira Satarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Angurangaite Girin Dakrapatamaham Bande Shiguru Dinatarinam Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Srila Prabhupada ki. So today we are going to give class on Srimati Radharani, which is going to then merge, morph. What's the word called? It's another transform. Transit. Transit. But you may not even notice that we've stopped, and it will transit into the initiation in which we will discuss about initiation and also about the holy name, the 10 offenses, and then Jenny will no longer be Jenny anymore. She will also transit, transform, transition, morph. Morph's not a good word. Hare Krishna. So today is the auspicious appearance day of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is Krishna's eternal consort. And as most of you know, Krishna has devotees who are girls. For some people, that's strange. God would have girlfriends. So one man, he was upset about it. Yeah, he was angry with Krishna. How can he have girlfriends? Or how could he engage with the wives of other men? A natural question. And so he accused Krishna of having stolen the wives of other men, because that's what he did, apparently. And Prabhupada said, every woman is Krishna's wife. So you have stolen your wife from Krishna. So anyone who is, any devotee who is engaged with Krishna in any way is engaged in that way because that's what they want. Not because that's what Krishna wants, but Krishna wants it because they want it. So he reciprocates. So some devotees want that kind of relationship. And Srimati Radharani is actually manifested from Krishna as his female counterpart. And she embodies everything which we aspire for or aspire to. Not that we can imitate or be that, but she embodies the highest degree of love. And of course, we're all aspiring to love Krishna in the highest possible way. So she is our emblem of the highest devotion. And we get the greatest inspiration from her devotion because it's so deep and it's so great. So I have collected some things that Prabhupada has said about Srimati Radharani, which I thought we could read and discuss. Specifically about how to understand her, but how to understand our relation to her. Because in Krishna consciousness, the interesting thing that happens is we become introduced to different eternal spiritual personalities, and then we're told you have a relationship with them, and we didn't know that. And you know, you have a relationship with this person, but I haven't met them. And so it's a little puzzling. But when you come to Bhakti, when you come to Bhakti, Radharani personifies Bhakti. She personifies devotion. And it's through her, by her grace, that we get devotion, and it's by her grace that we can approach Krishna. That we you know, it's not just such a simple thing that anyone can approach God. And Prabhupada gave the example. He said, just like you can't just go see the president. You have to have a reason, an appointment, etc. And most people will never be able to meet him. There's so many people, what to speak of the president, there's so many people that we would not be able to meet, or so many things we're not qualified to do. So to connect with God, you go through someone who can connect you, who can help you, who can qualify you, who can help you understand. Just like if you're going to see the Queen of England, you have to rehearse how to greet her, what to say, and if you're an American, what not to say. How not to walk in front of her like our former president did, and things of that nature. Because especially us as Americans, you know, we're not British, we don't know the protocol. Probably the British people have a better idea, but still, you have to learn that to make sure this is how you'll do. You will come in, then after you come into the room, she will enter. When she enters, you stand up, and then you say this, or you wait for her to say this, then you say this, then you wait for her to sit down, then you sit down. Something like that. In case you meet her, now you know what to do. So in the same way, to connect with God, Krishna, we need to become qualified. And there are persons we go through who will help us become qualified. And Radharani is that personality. Because Prabhupada said, if she recommends you to Krishna, then Krishna must accept her recommendation. That's pretty good, right? One time we were having a meeting, and this was in a small country where we had access to the prime minister, and we had formed a committee, and we thought of inviting him to come to the committee because he could help us in many ways. And so we had one intelligent lawyer and said, I don't think he's going to come. Invite his wife, because whatever she tells him, he will do it. So that's Radharani's position. Whatever she tells Krishna, Krishna will do. So if she says, Krishna, you have to accept Gauranga Gandharvika. You have to accept her. Then Prabhupada says, it doesn't matter who you are. Krishna can't say no. So The devotee therefore prays to Srimati Rani, please ask Krishna to accept me or ask Krishna to bless me. And Srila Prabhupada says that the spiritual master is a representative of Radharani because that's his same job, to show the devotee how to serve and to pray to Krishna that they would accept this devotee. So sometimes Prabhupada would say, I'm always praying for you. What more could you want? A pure devotee is praying for you. A pure devotee who has a relationship with Krishna. A pure devotee who Krishna will do what he asks. That's pretty good. You know, when we chant 16 rounds a day, those who live in the temple, those who are taking initiation, want to be initiated, have been initiated, we chant 16 rounds a day. Some of you know that traditionally in India, they chant 64. So a lot of you are thinking 16 is a lot. Well, now you're probably not thinking it's a lot anymore. 64 is the standard, which would take 7 or 8 hours. And that Prabhupada, when he came, he tried, he asked, but the devotees couldn't do that. So he went to 32, said, well, can you do 32? No, Srila Prabhupada, it's too much. And then Prabhupada didn't ask if you could do 16. He said, 16, no less. This is for people who are living in the temple, people who are initiated or want to be initiated. So he said, 16, no less. So this has been looked at and discussed by many devotees. And the general realization that they have come to is that Prabhupada cut a deal with Krishna. If they chant 16, can we let them back to Godhead, even if they're not like entirely ready? That, at least that's my personal realization. What do you say? Yeah, okay. That's a good deal. Yeah, I used to say it's the best deal in town. So someone who's dear to Krishna can do that and say, on their behalf, I'm asking if they just do this and that, will you give them this blessing, this benediction? Will you allow them to have a relationship with you? Will you allow them to enter the spiritual world? And Krishna can't say no, it's not possible. So the spiritual master is a representative of Srimati Radharani because the spiritual master does the same thing. He prays for the disciple, he instructs the disciple, he shows mercy or affection, we call it kripa in Sanskrit, through the instructions he gives, which helps the disciple move towards Krishna. And Radharani represents the compassionate side of Krishna. So it's like, in a sense, he's allowed Radharani to manifest most of the compassion that he would personally manifest. He allows her to manifest. And so when I became a devotee, the first thing they did was shave me up. At that time, I actually had hair. It's hard to imagine, but I did. And so while they were shaving me up, they said, Radharani is telling Krishna right now, you have a new devotee. It's like, a little esoteric for the first day. But, well, it wasn't my first day, but I was moving in the temple. So that's what I was told in the process of shaving my head. She's going to tell Krishna that you have a new devotee, and she's going to ask Krishna to accept you and say so many good things about you. So in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, the mercy of Srimati Radharani plays a fundamental, not only fundamental, an essential role in becoming Krishna conscious. And because of this, Prabhupada said, the devotee is always praying for the mercy of Radharani. Now, what's interesting is Radharani appears in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as Hare. Hare is Radha. Radha Krishna. Some sects of devotees chant, they don't chant Hare Krishna, they chant Radha Krishna or Radhe Sham. Sham Sham Radhe Radhe. So every day we are praying for the grace of Radha so we can approach Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. So right from the beginning, we were given the Maha Mantra, we were connected with Radha. We may not even have realized it. This is Krishna's internal potency. Internal potency means spiritual energy which draws you to Krishna. Just like we all know in this world there's an energy which draws us away from Krishna. That energy draws you towards Krishna. So Hare is, so many people chant Hare Krishna and they say, I feel better now, or I feel uplifted. That's Hare. That's what she does. She is the personification of spiritual energy. All right, so I did say I was going to read. So I should read, right? Yes? Okay. A lot of what I just said is probably what we're going to read, but it doesn't hurt to hear it again. So this is from a lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave in London, 1973. So anyone who comes before Radharani to serve Krishna, oh, she becomes so pleased. She says, oh, here is a devotee of Krishna. She immediately recommends Krishna. Oh, here is a devotee. He is better than me. This is Radharani. I may not be a devotee. I may be most fallen rascal. But if I try to reach Krishna through Radharani, then my business is successful. Therefore, we should worship Radharani first. That is our business. Instead of offering one flower directly to Krishna, you just put it in the hands of Radharani. And you say, my mother Radharani, Jagannatha. Jagannatha means mother of the universe. If you kindly take this flower and offer it to Krishna, in other words, please offer this flower to Krishna. Oh, Radharani says, oh, you have brought a flower? Krishna says, Patra Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhakta Prachati. You offer me a flower. But don't offer Krishna directly, just offer through Radharani. It will be very much appreciated by Radharani. So this is our philosophy, to please Krishna through Radharani. And so often you will see the deities of Radha and Krishna, and there are flowers in Radha's hands. The flowers put there, and she will offer to Krishna. So we should offer Pushpanjali and pray to Radharani that, Radharani, kindly be merciful and tell about me to your Krishna. Tell your Krishna about me.
Hari bol.
In other words,
Actually, क्या मेरा घर पे
please
internet
put in a
चला
good
गया.
word to Krishna for me. To your Krishna. Krishna is yours. Krishna, Radha Krishna. Krishna is not independent. Krishna is Radharani's property. Wait a minute, it appears to be a contradiction. The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam says Krishna is Swarat. He's independent. That's the definition of God. And so this is very interesting. So by definition, God must be independent because he's the creator of everything and the controller. So if you are the controller of everything, obviously you're independent, because nothing controls you. That's what it means to be independent. Right? Nothing controls you. So any religion around the world will accept that this is the definition of God. He's the creator and he's the controller. And that is a fact. And although it's a fact, Prabhupada says he's not independent. So what's going on here? As the creator and controller of this universe, he's independent, but in relationships, he's not, which is it's such an interesting theology that this is God. He is like this, and you can describe what he's like, but when you put him in relationship, he's not like that anymore. What happens in relationship? Because the devotee's love is so deep, he becomes controlled by their love. So the supreme controller, the supreme independent, is not independent of the devotee's love. That's amazing, isn't it? Love controls. Where there's love, one will do anything for the one who loves them. Krishna is completely controlled by Radharani. That's one of the qualities of Radharani, that she controls Krishna by her love. She has 25 qualities are listed. Actually, she has unlimited qualities, but it's been coined as 25, just so we don't spend the rest of our life just talking about her qualities. We can do it in 10 minutes. This is one of her qualities, that she controls Krishna by her love. So God is supremely independent, the supreme controller, but he's actually controlled by love. Isn't that amazing? Turn to the person next to you and say, that's amazing. And the more you think about that, the more amazing you'll realize that is. And this sheds light on a principle of our philosophy, that some things are true in what we call tattva. Tattva is a Sanskrit word. Tattva means truth. So when we say tattva, we say this is the philosophy. God is this, God is this, God is this, God is that. That's the philosophy. But there's another word called rasa. Rasa means relationship. And what is true philosophically is not always true in relationship. It changes. Sometimes you might see a contradiction, that Krishna is said to be a certain way or act a certain way, but in relationship, he's said to be different or acts differently. So you have tattva and you have relationship, and sometimes there's apparent contradiction. You say, this is true philosophically, but in relationship, it doesn't work that way. Because relationships are relationships, and they're not governed by philosophy. They're governed by emotion and affection, even for the Supreme Lord himself. And that's why we say Krishna is controlled by the love of his devotees. And that's why we say Krishna is controlled by Radharani, because she manifests the highest love. Now, something very interesting also. When you hear these things and you start discussing these things, you start to realize that when you want to understand your relationship with God, you have to not just understand yourself and your path and your obstacles. You have to understand God's psychology, God's nature, God's emotion, because he has all of those. And I'm going to give you an example just to help you enter his world. He has a world. I have a God brother. He calls this, what does he call it? Empathic theology. He calls it empathic theology. Feeling, in empathy, you feel what the other person's, you don't feel that you acknowledge. You might feel what they're feeling, but you acknowledge what they're feeling. You try to understand what they're feeling and acknowledge it. You must be feeling frustrated. You must be feeling really anxious. Empathic theology, what does God feel? And I'm going to give you one example of one thing he's feeling, and he feels many things. And this is I think this is unique, a unique spiritual philosophy, to enter into the mind and heart of what is God is feeling, so that you can enter into a relationship to know what he's feeling. So, as many of you know, when Krishna was a young boy, he was called out of his home village of Vrindavan to go to a place called Mathura. Or if you're an American, Mathura. He went to Mathura, Prabhu. No, it was actually Mathura. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any way you say it, it's all good. Yeah. So he was called there. He had some business. King was calling him. King wanted to kill him, actually. Krishna thought, I have a better idea. I'll kill the king instead. So that's how it all worked out. But Krishna had to do that because the king was a tyrant, and he had imprisoned his parents, and it was a bad situation. So he ended up doing some mixed martial arts and pulled him off the throne, threw him down. And as they do in martial arts, when you get the guy on the ground, you just beat him, right? Anyway, I was introduced to mixed martial arts a few years ago for a few days. So I didn't fight, but I saw it, how it goes. And that's how it goes. So basically, that's what Krishna did. He did mixed martial arts on Kamsa. But if Krishna were here, he would not be allowed in whatever association or league it is, because he would kill people with one punch. And he can do that. And mortals can't do that. I mean, maybe it's happened, but generally not. One punch doesn't do it. One punch of Krishna is all he needs. So anyway, he told everyone in Vrindavan that I'll be back. He was going in the morning. He said, I'll take care of the business and I'll come back tonight. If not tonight, I'll come back the next day. And if things get complicated, then I'll come back in a week. And then he went on. He said, well, maybe a month, maybe a year, but I'll be back. And so he didn't come back because there were so many people who wanted to kill him, which is obviously impossible, but there's so many people who wanted to kill him. He didn't want to stay in Vrindavan because it would endanger everyone in Vrindavan. So this is all his friends and family are there. If I go back to Vrindavan, then these military forces will come there. They want to destroy me. That's another thing. Why would they feel that way? But anyway, they felt that way. So he thought, I can't go back because that will jeopardize the residents of Vrindavan. So he stayed out of Vrindavan. Now, an ordinary person will think, what is wrong with this Krishna? Everyone in Vrindavan is suffering because he hasn't come back. Why doesn't he come back? It was out of affection that he, and another time when he was asked, why didn't you go back? He said, I can't. Because if I go back, I still have to leave because I have business outside of Vrindavan. The residents of Vrindavan are practically dead without me. If I go back and then I leave again, definitely they'll die. They won't be able to tolerate separation twice. Now, so this is what's going on in Krishna's heart. But what also is going on in Krishna's heart is that he doesn't want to see the residents of Vrindavan because he feels that they have so much love for him, so much more love for him than he has for them, that if he sees them, he'll feel embarrassed. That I cannot reciprocate with the love you have for me. Better I stay out of Vrindavan. This is actually how he feels. Now, you might think, this is God? God actually thinks like this? And the answer is, well, did you ever think like that? Like, you didn't want to see somebody because, maybe you owe them money or something. Or, you promised them something and you didn't do it. And it's like, I want to see them. Why do you feel that way? Or why have you ever felt that way? Because God has felt that way. You won't feel it if he hasn't felt it. So he actually feels that his devotees have more love for him than he can give to them, and he can't repay them. And he told the gopis, I can't repay you. You love me too much. And now he doesn't want to go back to Vrindavan because he's embarrassed. God is embarrassed. Can you believe it? Turn to the person next to you and say, I don't know if I can believe it. Yeah. You better believe it because it's true. Yeah. So Radharani has total control over Krishna, complete control. If she's upset, Krishna is upset. If she is happy, Krishna is happy. And his whole existence is to make her happy. Then you might be thinking, well, what does she do about that? Does she take advantage of that? No. Her whole existence is to make Krishna happy. And his whole existence is to make her happy. And eternally, they're making efforts to make one another happy. And it goes on forever. Now, one of the most interesting things about Srimati Radharani, for us, I believe, is how Radharani, although she's actually the personification of bliss, it's called Ladini Shakti. It is an aspect of the internal spiritual potency, and she's the personification of that. Although she's the personification of bliss, if Krishna is not happy, she cannot be happy. Isn't that interesting? She personifies bliss, but if Krishna is not happy, she can't be happy. She cannot be happy independently of Krishna's happiness. That's interesting, isn't it? I mean, go try to figure that one out. How can you be the manifestation of bliss and not be happy unless Krishna's happy? Now, I have a question for you. Could you, in the infinity of all possibilities, experience a little happiness, from a little sense gratification that has nothing to do with Krishna? And if you don't know the answer is yes, you could. And we have. Isn't it? I get something, gratifies my senses. Oh, that tastes good. That looks good. That sounds good. I mean, you probably have your favorite song that has nothing to do with Krishna, right? And you hear that, I love that song. I feel so good. It has absolutely nothing to do with Krishna. But sometimes you say, it reminds me of Krishna. But sometimes it reminds you of your old girlfriend or whatever, So we can be happy. We can experience some sensual pleasure that has nothing to do with Krishna and say, oh, that feels good. Oh, that's my favorite song. I like that song. Radharani cannot do that. It's impossible. And the pure devotee cannot experience happiness or pleasure unless it's making Krishna happy. It's impossible. They cannot. Now, the most interesting thing, and most of us have heard this before, the most interesting thing is that if Radharani can give Krishna pleasure, that makes her happy, but it doesn't matter what she has to do to make him happy. So if her suffering causes him to be happy, she cannot possibly be unhappy through the suffering. Okay, now the next question. Raise your hand if you would like to suffer. Okay, no hands went. All right. Now, if I can suffer in a way that will make Krishna happy, then theoretically, I will be happy. That's the philosophy. So a devotee does not experience suffering if it gives us pleasure, gives the devotee pleasure, and the devotee does not experience happiness unless it gives Krishna pleasure. That is the devotee, the superlative devotee, the pure devotee. That's Radharani. So that's our inspiration. Yes, I guess it's time for questions. No, go ahead. We probably should take questions and then we can prepare for the initiation lecture, which I think I laid some seeds for the initiation lecture already. So we saved a little time.
I just wanted to know what would be an example of a devotee suffering that makes Krishna happy.
Getting up at 4 a.m. You come in, you're tired, and you're thinking, how does that make Krishna happy? I'm suffering like anything. When I was a young devotee, in Los Angeles, they had a shower room with I think there were 6 showers. So we would 6 at a time, we'd take a shower. It's very time efficient. And they pulled off the handles of all the hot water. So that made it even more time efficient. You could barely do it for get wet, soap up, rinse off. That was about a minute and a half or something. And then I lived in London. That was in the winter. Those showers were quite interesting. Water's a bit colder. How is that making Krishna happy? I'm sitting in the shower, I'm screaming, ah! And Krishna's going, getting back at you for all those lifetimes that you turned your back on me. No, but Krishna is not happy when you suffer. Radharani was saying that if, theoretically, if my suffering makes him happy, I will not be suffering. That will not be suffering. It will be happiness. But you're suffering, you get up at 4 o'clock and go in that cold shower, you're suffering, and you're thinking, how could Krishna possibly be happy with my suffering? It's because this is good for you, and you're making advancement, and that's why he's happy. Because you're coming closer. Every step you take closer to Krishna makes him happier. Every step you take away makes him sadder. So if you do something which is difficult, but it's purifying, makes Krishna happy because he sees this is bringing us closer. Would Krishna suffer for you? Yes. Would your spiritual master suffer for you? Yes. But would you suffer for them? Will you do a little austerity to pay them back? I hope so. Krishna is, he's up there having a good time, but he would be happier if you were there with him. Now he's happy we're down here serving him, telling other people about him, but he's also waiting for us. So every time you do something that brings you closer to him, he's happy. And every time you do something that takes you further away, he's unhappy. Now we might think Krishna's up there, he's being Krishna, doing what he does, and he doesn't really think about me. Why would he want to think about me? He's got enough people who love him to think about. No, he does. He's waiting for you. He's thinking about you. Why would he want to think about you? When are you going to get there? You're going to do it in this lifetime. So every time you do something to bring you closer to him, he's happy. And if you read in Bhagavatamrita, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when there is a devotee named Gop Kumar, and it has a scene when he enters the spiritual world, and Krishna said, I've been waiting for you. So it's the supreme love scene. You can make a movie of that. You can write a song. I've been waiting for you. Can you see it? Can you see yourself in that movie? And you should try to see yourself in that movie. Krishna's waiting for you. And you might think, why is he waiting for me? It doesn't make sense. What did I ever do for him? Empathic theology. Don't try to understand Krishna through your own emotions and how you would respond in a similar situation, but understand it from his perspective. So someone will say, why would Krishna love me? Why would Krishna even like me? Because I've done so many things to avoid him. We can't think like we would. Well, I wouldn't like somebody if they did that to me, right? So we can't think that. Why does Krishna love me? Because that's why he's Krishna. That's what God does. Yes.
I feel more often that I'm waiting to be happy. So it's hard for me to understand Krishna's waiting for me to be happy. So I'm thinking, okay, well, let's be happy. You know, why are we waiting? We're both waiting on me. Or...
No, he's waiting for you to do all the things, stop doing all the things that are making you unhappy. Krishna wants you to be happy, and he knows how you'll be happy. And it's to give up all the things that are making you unhappy, and all the thoughts that are making you unhappy. When we come to the point where we can only be happy and pleasing Krishna, then we've arrived. That's Krishna consciousness. I've been in very, very difficult situations, and I've seen many, many devotees in very, very difficult situations. And they were blissful. Doesn't make sense, does it? Because it was service. The situation was difficult, but it was service. And because it was service, it's under the influence of Krishna's spiritual potency. So even though externally it was difficult, because they were in the internal potency, they were blissful. We used to distribute books in an airport where this one man really didn't like us. And he was like, 12 feet tall and 800 pounds, And so we'd be talking to someone and he would accidentally bump into us, which was like, tractor just knocked you over, and he just accidentally would bump into us all day. Just, and if he didn't bump into us, he would just tell the person we're talking to, you don't want to take this book because these people are this, that. The person would just give us the book back. And if he wasn't around and we distributed the book, he would go up to the person and say, you don't want this book, give it to me. And he would take the book and he would tear it up. And he would show it to us. Would you like to go to that airport today? Distribute some books. Very, very difficult, right? Very, very difficult. Sometimes so difficult, the devotees would just like sit down and cry. It's like, I can't do this. But they would come back at the end of the day and go into the temple for evening artik and dance and chant in ecstasy. Now that doesn't make any sense, right? Having externally, materially, having gone through a day like, imagine you worked on for Google, you went, there was some guy like that knocking you off your chair, erasing all your programs off your computer, deleting all the work you did, all the programs you wrote, he just deletes them. And you come back in the evening, like you wouldn't be happy, right? So they come back in the evening and they're dancing the artik, and I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, this is Krishna consciousness. You can go through the most difficult situations, suffering because it's in service, it's ecstatic at the same time. What do you think?
I'd rather do service, not suffer.
No, the suffering is our own mind. There's no other suffering. It's the rejection of like this is difficult. I don't want to do it. That's the suffering. There. I was thinking. I think it was in Vancouver. There was this man. He would do the same thing. He would come every day at 5 o'clock, and he would like bump into us. He was very regulated. And the joke is if your watch said 5:02 and he showed up and bumped into you, reset it to 5 because he was right on time, 5 o'clock. But that actually made it more blissful because it meant that we were doing this for Krishna, we were tolerating these things for Krishna, and it was actually more blissful. Because it was more difficult, it was more blissful. Because it was harder. You know, you want to show your love for someone. If there's a difficult situation and you go through it together, you get closer through the difficulty. And you remember that. We went through this together. You almost drowned and I risked my life. I don't even know how to swim. And I jumped off the cliff into the ocean and somehow I saved you. And, you know, I was frightened to death for both of us. And now you're closer. You suffered like anything, but when you come out, you go, that was an amazing experience, right? Hare Krishna. Okay, one last question and then we'll start the initiation.
Question on Zoom from Wilma Drolite. She's asking, there is a saying that not to see the deities, but make things that the deities want to see you. So what to do for Radharani to want to see or meet us?
Can you read that again? I was distracted.
There is a saying that not to see the deities, but making things so that the deities want to see you.
Yeah.
So what should we do? What to do for Radharani to see us?
Oh, you just have to show up. And she'll see you. The point is, when you come into the temple to see the deity, actually it's roll call. It's just roll call. You're coming to show up because they want to see you. And so see them with devotion so that they like seeing you. That's the idea. Hare Krishna. Oh, you want to play the song or something if there's time? I wrote a song this weekend. Well, I didn't write it. I did a song that was taking the words of Radharani's qualities. Maybe we have time to play it. I think it's like 8 minutes. What? Yeah. So let's do the initiation first. This could be the fastest initiation ever. We don't have to do the yajna until later. So I think, how should we begin? Kalakanta, should we begin giving the name? Should I give the name first or the name after? It's more exciting in the beginning. Yeah, we can do the name first. You have Achman, you could take Achman. Om Pavitra Pavitrava Sarvavashtam Kutopiva Smare Pundarikaksham Sarvavayam Yantara Suchihi. She's going to take Achman from Purified. Do you know how to do it? Okay. So normally we begin initiation and other ceremonies with this mantra, and this mantra means whether you're pure or impure, no matter where you've been, where you've gone, what you've done. So if you remember the lotus-eyed Lord, you'll become purified. So this we do this ceremony as a ceremony of purification. So you want to put her neck beads on? You have neck beads, and then Prabhupada Priya, you can put her neck beads on, or Janava could put her neck beads on. So this is a ceremony in which Jenny will receive the holy name, which of course she's already received years ago, but say more in an official capacity. And then she's going to make a vow that she will chant 16 or more rounds every day and follow 4 principles. So it's making it official. But the ceremony is a purificatory process, and it signifies, this mantra signifies that the holy name is pure, Namas Chintamani Krishnas. It's pure And it can purify anyone. It can even purify Jagai and Madhai. Jagai and Madhai appeared about 500 years ago, and they, I think, were the Adi mafiosos, or maybe mafiosos on steroids. They were very, very fallen. And Lord Nityananda Prabhu wanted to, he really wanted to help them become Krishna conscious, because he wanted to establish this idea that anybody, no matter where they've been, where they've come from, pure, impure, what they've done, if they take to chanting the holy name, they can be purified. And so he thought, if these two men become devotees and become pure, that is like the best branding for Mahaprabhu we could possibly have. He'll then be branded as Patita Bhavana, right? And everyone will know that. And then everyone will feel that no matter where I've come from, I can also take this process because it works for everybody. So that's basically what that mantra means. And that's what this initiation is all about. It's purification. And she's going to chant 16 rounds every day. And she's going to follow the 4 record principles and engage in service and go back to Godhead, right? That's the plan. Anyway, in the theoretical plan is the spiritual master guides the disciple in how to chant the holy name and how to serve. The disciple follows, and therefore the spiritual master can guide that disciple back to Godhead. And generally at every initiation, I request my disciples, don't make my job difficult. And how do you make the spiritual master's job difficult? Like this. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't even know if I believe that. So the example is given, you throw a rope into a well, that's mercy. And you grab the rope and the spiritual master will pull you up. And so don't make his job difficult when he throws the rope down and say, I don't know if I can hold on to it. Could you come down and help me? Or I don't know if I even want to get out of the well anymore. Yeah. So that makes the spiritual master's job difficult. So he throws the rope through his instructions and you follow. Okay, so we're going to give her, she's going to take her vows. And then we'll give her a name and we'll give her some japa beads. So I met Jenny on the phone around a year ago. Was it? A little more than a year ago. I remember I was at Kanapaha and we arranged a call. And I was there with my wife to chant japa, and she went in. And I said, I'll come in later. And we had a call. And I think through that call, that was the seed that got you to Krishna House, wasn't it? Yeah. So it's all my fault that she's here. So, okay. So what are you going to do? Okay, what kind of rounds are you going to chant? Not mechanical, not beat the clock japa. So Srila Prabhupada asked his disciples to become spiritual masters. And there is no way that I, Kalakanta Prabhu, or any of us would do this job if Prabhupada didn't ask us. We're totally doing it because he asked. And it's not that by becoming our disciples, you are further away from Prabhupada, but by becoming our disciples, you're closer to Prabhupada. We're trying to help you get closer to Prabhupada. and connect with Prabhupada. So we're doing that service on his behalf, One Big Happy Family. So before I give you your name, you should pay obeisances to Kalakanta Prabhu and then myself. Like actually, he's your Siksha Guru amongst many Siksha Gurus you have. So today is Radharani's appearance day, which is naturally the day to give a disciple a name of Radharani. And we have chosen the name of Radharani, and we're not going to give it. And I decided last night about 8:00 while I was taking prasadam to not give that name after I chose it. Maybe someone else will get that name someday. And I want to tell you my thinking because it's instructive for all of us. Jenny joined in Krishna Consciousness in Austin under the direction of Sankarshan Prabhu and his wife, Vishnu Priya. And Vishnu Priya had given her a nickname. And she likes that nickname. And we talked about that nickname. And I said, why do you like that name? It's not a name of Radharani. I said, I can't give you that name, especially not on Radharani's appearance day. And she said, well, it's a name of an expansion of Radharani. Which I said, well, that's true. And so I know she liked the name, and I've never given, well, actually, yeah. Anyway, Prabhupada has given this name, so it's okay. So, but the main reason I decided, aside from the fact that she liked it, but she would like the other name also, was that I thought this name is given by her Siksha Guru, so I should accept that name. And that way, it's like a joint initiation, because she was very close to them. And so by giving the name that they chose, we're showing that it's just one big family, and we're all together doing this. And she knows the name already. So your name is Janaki Devi Dasi. So Janaki is the wife of Lord Ram, who's an expansion of Radharani. So it all works out, right? Okay, so there, in the end, it's all good. You can still go to Vrindavan with that name. I'm not going to say, we're not letting you in. You got the wrong name. No. So there are 10 offenses that Prabhupada had us discuss these offenses at initiation. So we'll briefly go over them. I will focus on a few of them because I think a few of them are especially important. So what is the first offense? Blaspheme the devotees, dedicate their lives. Yeah. So blaspheme is an interesting word. It means to make up something that's not true about somebody. And if you're on Facebook, you're reading blasphemy a lot. Things that are not true, that are rumors, that someone, you know. And if you want to experiment, you can make up a rumor, put it on Facebook. And I can guarantee you it's going to spread, especially if it's something really bad about some exalted devotee. It will spread very quickly. That's called blasphemy. Criticism is, oh, you did this wrong. That's not blasphemy. Blasphemy would be to exaggerate what you did wrong, to make stories about it. So why is this a problem? I think for many reasons it's obvious, but why is this there as an offense to the holy name? Because the devotee is in Krishna's heart, and when you blaspheme a devotee, it hurts Krishna. And how can you advance in your chanting if you're at the same time harming the heart of Krishna? Krishna is his name, right? So if I'm harming Krishna and trying to advance in my chanting, it doesn't work that way. It can't work. So that's why that offense is there, and that's how it relates to the holy name. Second offense, consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma. Yeah, so that means equating demigods in the same level of Krishna. If you weren't born in a Hindu family or didn't spend the last 20 years learning from yoga teachers, you don't have this problem. If you came directly to ISKCON, you don't have this problem. So, do you have this problem? No. Okay. So we don't have to talk about that problem. Third offense. Yeah. So you have to do whatever I say, all right? Or else. It specifically means to disrespect or to minimize instructions which are for your benefit, especially instructions about chanting. Specifically, we are officially now your Nam Guru. So when the Nam Guru speaks about the holy name, don't minimize those instructions, because then that becomes an offense. Oh, I also forgot to mention that the first offense is two offenses in one. It's offense obviously to the devotee, and it's offense to the holy name. So you're making two offenses by criticizing the devotee. Double trouble. So fourth offense. What was it? Blasphemy the Vedic literature. Oh, okay, blasphemy Vedic literature. Yeah, I'm a little tired this morning. Yeah. So we have to end by 9. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So this is interesting. This is something that I found out only within the last year. Why is this connected to the holy name? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, because the essence of the Vedic literature, the whole purpose of the Vedic literature is to chant Hare Krishna. That's the conclusion. So if I'm blaspheming Vedic literature, then I'm indirectly or directly, you could say, blaspheming the holy name. And I have a story to support it. And Prabhupada asked one of his disciples, why do you read my books? And the disciple said, to learn the philosophy. And Prabhupada said, no. You read my books to come to the stage of pure chanting. And when you come, it's like when you come purely chant, you don't need anything, because now you've arrived. So the last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is about chanting, isn't it? It's interesting. So that's that offense. Number 5. Yeah. So that is a aspect of faith that the scriptures describe. The holy name can deliver Jaga and Madai and do this and that, and can do so many things. And we think, nah, that's just advertising. They're just saying that to get me to chant, but it actually doesn't do it. So it's a question of faith. We have faith. Whatever is said that the holy name can do, it can do. We should have faith in that, and never think. The other problem is sometimes we think it can do it, but it can't do it on me. So no, it's not like that. Okay, number 6, Monday. Yeah. So it's similar to that. Yeah. Chanting Hare Krishna will give you love of God. That's what it will do. It will give you the highest prema. That's what it will do. So any other conception, any other idea, any material concept of the holy name, that's considered an offense. Okay, number 7. So Prabhupada sometimes said this is the worst offense. Sometimes the third offense is the worst. Sometimes the first offense is the worst. In the spiritual world, it's big enough for 3 things to be the worst. So this is really bad, because this would be using the holy name to counteract sin. And thinking, well, I'm going to do this, and I know it's sinful, but I'll chant Hare Krishna and this sin will go away. The interesting thing about this is Prabhupada said that act in and of itself of premeditated sin, and you premeditate that you will chant that sin away. The act of chanting that sin away is more sinful than the sin you committed. Isn't that interesting? So the conclusion is just commit. If you have to commit a sin, just do it. And come in the temple tomorrow and chant, but don't chant with the purpose of counteracting that sin, because that will be more sinful than the sin. Isn't that interesting? That's really interesting, I think.
Cover up.
Yeah. And okay, number 8. Okay, so karma kanda means you do something and you create good karma. And chanting is transcendental. It doesn't create good karma. It doesn't create bad karma. In fact, it gets rid of good karma and bad karma. You just heard chant Hare Krishna to get rid of all your karma, and you were thinking all your bad karma. Well, it gets rid of your good karma also. But that's good, because if you have no good karma, you don't have to take birth again. So if you have good karma, you'll take birth in Beverly Hills. But if you have no karma, you'll take birth in the spiritual world. Okay. So number 9. Yeah, that is actually specifically means, at least one of the things it means, is don't initiate a person who is unqualified. So I guess it's too late for this offense, right? No, that makes her feel really good, right? Only kidding. But it goes with my request. Don't make my job difficult. Right? So be a qualified disciple. Then neither of us are making this offense. And the 10th offense. So it really means to act on the bodily platform. You're chanting Hare Krishna, but you're still acting like you're not a devotee, and expanding your material life, material attachments, and trying to enjoy this world at the same time chanting Hare Krishna. You're not going to go anywhere because you're anchored to this world. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Janaki Devi Dasi ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hari Hari Go. So I have to explain this song. Radha Priya had asked me to do a song on Radharani. Yes.
Does have any particular concepts and have
Yeah. I think this song is 6 or 7 minutes. Yeah. So Hare Krishna. So Radha, she asked me to do this song, and I always wanted to do songs for holidays. So we did this song this weekend with whatever time I have. Please forgive any imperfections. If I had more time, it would be better. But this is a song about the qualities of Radharani. And if you catch the melody, you can sing along.
Should I play? Oh, what happened to the audio? When you select share screen, there's an option to share audio.
Share audio.
Sugracia. SG is Sugracia.
It's pause the video, and share screen. Okay. And then when you share it again, there'll be a pop-up.
Oh yeah. Share audio.
And then share song.
Still not happening.
This was playing before.
make it no.
And that's not the life. I know what I'll do. I'll stop share. I don't know what's wrong.
Are the words on this song?
No, we didn't have time.
Because I have another one with the words. Can you do my computer?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you did. Should I do it live? Yes. Let's do it. But we need the words.
I can give the word for him and we can share it.
Like this to this.
I have on my computer the words of the song. Can you hook up my computer?
Yeah. After the job work, we did the Holy Name songs too, the Shikshastika.
So, these are the words. Radharani, Radhe Radhe. One more time. Radharani, 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 Radhe Radhe. This is the melody, if I can remember. She is sweet. She is sweetness. She is sweetness personified. And a fresh young girl. That's it. Let's try it again. She is sweetness personified. And a fresh young girl. She knows how to dress so nicely and is cunning too. She can give shelter to all devotees, and she is very great. She is always so brightly smiling, and her eyes always move. Radharani, 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 Radhe Radhe. She is always so merciful and always gives respect. Can sing along. She can speak nicely and sweetly and sings expertly. She is modest and gentle and always patient. She is enjoyed only by Krishna and is always very shy. Radharani, 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 Radhe Radhe. She has all auspicious marks on a transcendental form. She can excite Lord Krishna by her sweet fragrance. She is the abode of love of the people of Goku. She is always affectionate to the elders and the young. Hey, Radha, Rani, Radha, Rani, Radha, Rani, oh, Rani, Rani. Wait. She's always on the highest stage of devotion to the Lord. She is obliged by the dealings of her associates. She is the greatest among Krishna's girlfriends. She always keeps Krishna under her control. One more time. She always keeps Krishna under her control. Don't forget, one more time. She always keeps Krishna under her control. Radharani, 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 Radharani. One more time. Radharani, Radhe Radhe, oh, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, oh, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, oh, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. So the recording is out there somewhere. I sent to a lot of devotees. We have a video with the words. So if that one doesn't have the words, I don't want to send it out because you need the words. So but we have another one now, which I sent to Anishta to ask her to put it on Facebook. Anyway, we'll send out that link on Facebook. Radha, if you can do that. Or I can send it to you. Okay, party's over. Back to work. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanandi. So we see you for the fire sacrifice, many of you. And Jenny is going to become a humble beggar, begging dakshin, getting purified by begging. That's part of the process. Hare Krishna.